Before or after is pretty simple, actually. We come up with this statement and we have an anchor date. We will not tell you the exact date of, but we'll tell you an event in time in Disney history. Then the statement itself will be something along the lines of a description of an item or a description of an event or a description of something that happened in Disney history. And your goal is to say if that event that is on our card happened before or after our anchor date. So the anchor event, I should say, and the date that you're looking for or trying to figure out when it would be is the closing date of Mickey's Florida house in Toontown, because the one in California does still exist.
So let's go to the first one.
Let's do so. After years of no new resorts being built, Walt Disney World opened its 25th resort, the Art of Animation Resort. The resort featured family suites that were themed after popular Disney movies like Finding Nemo, The Lion King, Cars, The Little Mermaid. Many of you have probably stayed in it quite recently, to be honest. However, did the Art of Animation Resort open before or after the closing of Mickey's house in Toontown?
This is
The
so
Florida
hard.
version.
This is so hard.
This was much more difficult than I thought it would be.
So we know from the Bob Iger autobiography, we know that he gave Steve Jobs a personal tour of Art of Animation after it was built. Now, Steve Jobs wasn't a big fan of it. And then Bob's reaction famously was, this isn't really for you, Steve.
Accurate.
But I'm trying to think in terms of when Steve Jobs passed away. And when they closed Toontown, they closed Mickey's house for the purpose of building New Fantasyland. That was,
I believe that was the next step, but I'm not 100% positive. Because there might have been something briefly expanded before that. I don't remember.
My answer, and I'm usually wrong about these things. Let's just premise this with this. My answer would be that it was that Art of Animation was built before the closing of Mickey's house in Toontown. That's my answer.
Might want to. You could get some help from our comments. They don't agree with you, for the record.
I know.
For the most
I'm
part.
used to it. I'm used to it. I deliberately didn't look, although I can see it.
Can I elaborate on my answer?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Because there is. Let me go to the. You want to know. If Art of Animation opened before or after? Because there's two different questions here. When was built, and when it was open? Because remember, a great part of the Art of Animation was built along with Pop Century Resort as being the other decade or the other part of the century.
It was the legendary years.
And for several years was abandoned there. It was a creepy sight to see that abandoned buildings there.
It was very much so.
But I think it was open after the closing.
After the closing. Mixed bag.
I think it's before.
A lot of people are saying after. Like vast majority are saying after.
I think they're wrong.
Okay.
I think.
Do we have final answers?
Clearly, like ask the audience would be. I'd be wrong, but.
So Jason is saying before. I'm saying after.
Okay.
Our buddy Carlos would be correct.
Yeah.
It was after. The opening date was after Toontown House closed.
Okay, let's go to the second one.
On to round two. And well done to the audience. I got to give them that.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Springs added a bowling alley, Splitsville, to its entertainment lineup. With a massive 2-level, 50,000 square foot venue, Splitsville is the 5th and largest of their locations in the country. The unique bowling alley offers billiards, dining, live entertainment, nightlife, and of course bowling. Hence the name. 30 lanes to be exact. Did this experience debut before or after Mickey's house closed in Florida?
That's tricky too.
Yes, it is.
I would say it's tricky because before Splitsville was the Virgin Mega Store, the Virgin Music Store and Mega Store with the CDs, books, and
you have to realize Splitsville was one of the earliest things in the Disney Springs changeover too.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be after. It has to be after because it has to be after. If the other one was after, this has to be after.
Oh, and I should have clarified. The first one was the year 2012. I don't know if that's helpful to anybody or not.
Well, then that's not so wait. So Steve Jobs, who passed away in 2011, I think, he toured Art of Animation.
Probably while it was being built.
Mixed opinions in the audience. I would say after.
I'm with
All
after.
right, final answers?
Oh,
Both
Sarah
are saying
Collins is
after.
saying before.
So your answer would be after. And it's actually not as close as you'd think. It's closer than you'd think, I should say. It's within a year. And I won't tell you the date because that'll help on the last question. But nonetheless, it's very close. Which is not what you'd expect.
Let's go to the third.
All right, round 3. Toy Story 3 brought back classic characters and so much joy and a few tears, mostly for Carlos, to Pixar fans' hearts when it debuted. Many of us ran to the theaters in eager anticipation as to what the next piece of the story would bring. However, did this debut occur before or after the closing of Mickey's house in Toontown?
It's got to be after.
I think it's after too.
Yeah, it's got to be after.
I
Because
think
I remember. I feel like Toy Story 3. It feels more recent than that. Feels. I feel like maybe was I living in California when that came out, or no? Was I still in Baltimore?
We're talking 3, not 4.
I know 4. I was definitely in California, but
Mhm.
because that was very recent. But Toy Story 3. That Toy Story 3 is the one with that scene.
It is.
Hold the hands.
It is indeed.
Let's see. Megan is saying before.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Gustavus
this one
is
looks like
after,
it
and
stumped people a little bit.
Diane says after. I'm with Diane. I'm with Gustavo. Butch says after. Butch from Baltimore. Of course he knows. Jody says after. Michelle, my lovely wife, says after. So I have to agree there. Had lots of afters.
It's after.
Played these
for-
games before. I mean,
Mark Williams says after too. So I think it's after. It's got to be after.
you're wrong.
Final answer.
Wrong.
It is before. It is before. And this one, since we can reveal the date now, this was in 2010, which kind of shocked me when I was looking this up. Because I actually wanted something from 2010.
When did
yes,
Art of Animation
Toy Story
open?
3 was 2010. It actually opened its doors. Art of
11?
Animation, it was sometime in 2012. I don't know when exactly.
Steve Jobs definitely toured before before it
Yeah,
opened.
which would have had to been sometime in 2011. But
Wow.
that resort took forever to open, too.
Yes, that's right.
It was
Because
paused for a long time.
It was paused.
Yeah.
It was part of it were ready. It was ready for a long time.
Yeah, but the actual closing date of Mickey's house in Toontown was February 12th of 2011, which is actually later than I thought it was going to be. But
No, because it was
nonetheless,
after they announced.
It made
they
it to
announced
2011,
it was when it was right before they started the construction for New Fantasy.
which I think was announced in like 2009 or 10, somewhere in there was when they announced that. But
yeah,
because the
it was,
billboards were up for a long time.